Hi everybody, welcome to your 4 to 5. We got rid of Monday, so that's step one.
Get out of here.
Just a few more days to Friday.
Not that anybody's counting, but we are.
Thanks for watching us on WFNY News 2, Fire Stick, Roku, and the WFNY News 2 app.
Coming up this half hour, we're going to be talking about the Christmas tree debate. Real or artificial? So we will be tackling that topic in just a minute, but first we have to get an update on the forecast. Monique, it sounds like some rain is moving in later.
Yes, rain is expected to move into the area tonight. As of now, I've been keeping a very close eye to the radar. This is a satellite and radar looping through the past 3 hours, and you see these red polygons across Mississippi. There's even a lone one back in Texas. You also see these yellow polygons. These are indications of severe weather that's all across the south and east. We have this dynamic weather system that's sweeping across areas just to the south of us right now. It's inching its way closer and closer to us, bringing in some rain, and no severe weather threat for our area for tonight, but definitely going to bring in some downpours. This is the closest bit of rain to us. We're seeing what's happening now in Tennessee. The clouds heading out first, and then you see that rain. So once it crosses on over the mountains, we'll get that cloud cover to move into our area. That's going to be late this evening, and then the rain arrives after that. Just want to draw our eyes a little bit further south where the active scene is happening. That tornado threat is imminent all across the state of Mississippi. We're seeing that with these red polygons all across here. Going to be continuously eyeing out for friends and family down there. It seems to be like today will be a day they may be talking about for a while. Some of these tornadoes are expected to be long track tornadoes and very major. So we're going to keep a close eye to that to see what's happening there. But as I mentioned here at home, we're not expecting a severe weather threat tonight. More on the timing of rain in our area coming up before this 4 p.m. hour ends.
We have a traffic alert for Greensboro drivers this afternoon. Both lanes of US 29 northbound are closed between Wendover Avenue and Lindsay Street right now. Let's go ahead and take a live look at the scene. Greensboro police say 2 cars crashed and all traffic is being diverted onto Wendover. One person was seriously injured and taken to the hospital. As you can see, traffic is bumper to bumper. Avoid the area if you can. We'll keep you updated when traffic reopens.
All right, let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. Today, loved ones will say goodbye to one of the men killed in that Charlotte helicopter crash. Chip Tyeg's family will hold his visitation tonight in South Carolina. He was the veteran pilot flying the WBTV helicopter that crashed last week. The Guilford County School Board voted to keep a book in classrooms after parents challenged it several times. A parent at Northern Guilford High School filed an appeal after learning that a book named Salvage the Bones was being taught in AP English class. The school voted to keep using the book last June. Another complaint was filed at the beginning of the year. The school board's review committee upheld the school's decision. The whole board voted today and supported the initial rulings.
Burlington firefighters put out a fire caused by laundry that was too hot. Early this morning, investigators say the homeowner took his laundry out of the dryer and left it on the bed as he went to work. Well, apparently a rain jacket caught fire and spread to the other clothes on the bed. The fire caused about $30,000 in damage. We'll hear from the department and that homeowner today at 5. It has been 1 year since a fire broke out on Pilot Mountain. The Grindstone Fire, as it was called, burned about 1,000 acres. You could see the smoke from miles away. Investigators say an unattended campfire started it. We were able to see how the park is progressing since firefighters put out the flames. In efforts to raise money for Pilot Mountain, the Park Service developed license plates to raise money. They started going out last week. Boy, it was unbelievable. Some of the images that we saw just at nighttime, the ominous look of the flames kind of engulfing the mountain.
It looked like what we see in California a lot. You know, we see those wildfires and we're not used to that kind of thing here. As a Surrey County native, where I was born, and that's kind of the symbol of our county, I want the license plate, I think, because it just helps us to support that is coming back.
And it's things like that that I was so impressed with when we did that coverage, was the community coming together to raise funds. We had a local brewery that created a beer where the proceeds went towards the cleanup efforts. And then remember you did that story on the elementary students? I think they were kindergartners that drew pictures for the firemen.
They did, and then hand delivered them out there. It was really sweet.
So
I mean,
cute.
so just small gestures like that, because those guys were working day and night, round the clock, constant.
And it's nice to see it's coming back. from
Yes.
it. I know that we had a photographer go up there yesterday, and you can still see some of the remnants of it. There are, dead trees down that still show some of the burn marks, but it's coming back.
I mean, and it's visible too from Highway 52 if you're heading from our area back up that way toward my hometown of Mount Airy. It's right there on the left, and you can see the green just slowly coming back if you've been, especially if you've been the last probably 2 or 3 months, probably seeing the biggest change. Of course, with fall, the leaves go away, but at August and September, it looks beautiful.
I still have not made my way out
Oh, you
there, but
got
that's
to.
definitely on my list of places. Have you been out there before?
Pilot, yeah.
Okay.
It's great. I
Cool.
love
It's
it
a great
out there.
hike. Yep.
Definitely got to add that to my list. Well, moving on to other news, thousands of people have already cast their ballots early for Georgia's U.S. Senate runoff. Incumbent Democrat Raphael Warnock is facing off against Republican Herschel Walker. And today there were some long lines at the polls. Some people say they waited an hour to vote, but they believe it was worth the wait. Early voting ends this Friday. The runoff is next Tuesday, December 6th.
We're a little more than a week away from Election Day for the U.S. Senate runoff. This time, there are fewer days to vote in advance than for the midterm elections on November 8th. Election officials are already seeing numbers close to the thousands for turnout in Richmond and Columbia County.
At G3, we have had over 820 people come through. So for it to be a little after noon, that's pretty good, I would say. I do know out at Uchee Creek, the other location that's we're conducting advanced voting at, they too have had a nice crowd come through.
Travis Doss with Richmond County Board of Elections says your wait time should be much shorter, at around 20 minutes. He also says there's no need to worry if you're disabled because the poll workers are there to help.
Between the hours of 9:30 and 4:30, if there's a person who is disabled or needs assistance in voting, they can ask to be moved to the front of the line.
While lines might be daunting, voter Nolan Marshall says that didn't stop him from casting his ballot.
Don't let the line discourage you from coming out to vote. Please do your part and do what you need to do. Everyone, please get out here, join the line, whether it's early voting or whether it's on December 6th. Please get your votes in and let's make this change.
Well, you know what? I like to keep a couple of hot sauce bottles in my desk, but this guy, he takes it to new levels. It is potentially the world's largest hot sauce collection, and it's right here in the Triad. We're going to take you there right after the break.
Grief is a unique journey for each person and their family. The holiday season may bring up additional challenges and questions around how to prepare for the holiday season and starting the new year. This Thursday, AuthoriCare Collective will provide a free webinar to teach individuals how to navigate grief during the holidays, as all a part of the organization's Power of Knowing webinar series.
We know that as we look towards holidays and the new year, a lot of emotions can come up. So we're going to talk about those feelings. We're going to talk about things that many people experience, but we're also going to talk about what we can do about it in terms of rituals and some practices.
Organizers say participants will learn how children and teens across all developmental stages may experience grief this time of year, as well as ways to support adults and youth while including opportunities to honor their loved ones who died or has a serious illness.
Oftentimes, it can be difficult to acknowledge the challenges that we face. And this is a very simple, accessible way of getting resources that are very usable, that are meaningful, and that can be carried forward not only for yourself, but those that you care about.
The Power of Knowing webinar will be this Thursday at noon. The session will be recorded and available for those who cannot attend. For details on how to view the webinar, just look for this story on our website.
So earlier I mentioned that I would give you guys the details of when the rain is expected to arrive in our area. So here you have it, the future cast. The clouds moving into the mountains in this hour, this 4 p.m. hour. Then we'll start to see a few more of those clouds in the central Piedmont around Greensboro and Winston-Salem. Then as we continue through the night, more clouds will build across the area. So by around 8 p.m. we should see a lot more clouds around, and then continuing through about 10 p.m. everyone should start to see their skies blanketed entirely with clouds. It will be dark, so you may not get to see them at all, but you won't really get to see the moon as much as an indication that the clouds are around. And as we go through the night, clouds will be with us. Now, when will the rain arrive? After midnight. You can see this timestamp on here. We've already passed midnight and there's still no rain on this futurecast. So the rain comes after midnight. You're more than likely going to be asleep when the rain does begin. Starting off light right around 3 a.m. So that's when the rain begins, right around 3 a.m. Then the heavy downpours come in thereafter. Between 4 and 5 seems like the heart of the heavy rain pushing into the central Piedmont, and even some storms, some rumbles of thunder. Now around 8 a.m. most of it seems to already start really pushing east, and then by 10 a.m. skies should be on the clearing, and then by noon, lunchtime, really back to clear skies once again. This is a morning event, not an all-day affair. So we're starting overnight. When you're asleep, you may be awakened, but it's going to start in the morning and then continue through lunchtime. So it will impact your morning commute to work. If you do travel to work in the morning, it may impact your morning commute. When we talk about how much rain, not expecting a flooding concern, just saying your windshield wipers will have to do some exercise in the morning, but in the afternoon they won't, as skies clear for the late day. Temperatures though are going to be much warmer in the 60s, but after it we get much colder. The Thursday and Friday are chilly days, temperatures in the upper 40s, low 50s, overnight lows in the 20s and the 30s. A cool way to end the week.
Well, anybody who knows me well knows my love for hot sauce. It's a little obsessive, but I have met my match. Vic Klinko just moved from Arizona to High Point with a job transfer, but what he brought with him is unique. It may one day be the world's largest hot sauce collection. Everybody in the newsroom said I have to do this story, and I couldn't wait to see it. Take a look at his, well, shrine, better known as his basement. So Vic, when I came down the steps and looked in here, I said, I'm in heaven. I have found my hot sauce heaven. How in the world? I mean, there are thousands in here. How did you get started doing all this?
You know, I got started simple enough, a lot like other people. My grandfather had a garden in his backyard, and he grew jalapenos. And I can remember him just taking them off the vine and just eating them and sweating, right? Just giggled, and I thought, wow, that's kind of cool. I want to try that.
So as you got older, you started collecting a little bit, but tell me about that book. You said that book made a difference.
So my wife had given me the first bottles that were in my collection. And I think it was about 3 months or so later, I found the Great Hot Sauce book by Jennifer Trainer Thompson. And it just opened my eyes to a world that I had no idea was out there, right? It broke the sauces down by heat, by styles, and again, I had no idea that anybody even collected anything like this, and I guess it blew up from there.
And that was how many years ago?
26 years.
So 26 years, you have amassed how many bottles, if you had to guess?
So I've lost count in the move, but I'm pretty close to 11,000 bottles, and they're all unique. And again, they're from literally everywhere.
So not doubles in here, right?
No,
They're all
no.
single individuals.
There are some label variations, right, as people have changed their labels or have done some different things. But yeah, everything else is all unique and individual.
So now, I mean, you've gotten yourself firmly implanted. As far as collectors go, do you rank, or how do they handle that?
Yeah, this is the largest hot sauce collection in the world.
You're kidding.
No, come on, I wouldn't kid you.
No, but he'd give me some really hot sauce.
I could do that. Yeah.
And you have tastings and all that?
I do, yeah. So I'm starting myself up in this area. We've been here about a year and a half, right? The room has just kind of, I guess, gotten to a point where I feel comfortable bringing people in. But yes, that's what I want to do. I want to, I guess, educate folks on all the different flavors and flavor profiles that are out there.
Tell me real quick, because when I glanced at that wall over there, why are the flags out?
So that's my international wall, right? So what I did is I broke it down by country of origin, if you will. To me, again, that I've gotten to this size and the collection itself has taken on a life of its own. I really wanted to have that museum feel, that shrine feel, if you will. So I thought, what better way than actually showing where the sauces came from.
All right, so even if you, I mean, he's the guy, right? He's connected in all the hot sauce culture. He goes to challenges where he'll try some. He's really more of a collector.
Okay.
But he says he loves it when he goes to those conventions and someone comes up and goes, I can handle anything. He goes, well, try this one. And he says, and just break them down because people love that. So I brought us just 3, he just did some random ones. These are habanero pepper base, so it's not jalapeno, which is kind of lower on the scale, and it's definitely not ghost pepper or Carolina Reaper. And so I'm gonna tell you the proper way. You do it any way you want to, but he said the proper way to do hot sauce is not to put it on your finger. You can if you want to. He said just make a fist and then let a drop fall out. And that would be the way that I'll let you do it. These aren't that bad, but
I really wish you would have brought the jalapeno version, which is the wussy version.
that's the starter kit.
Right.
That's really good.
It's not bad.
I'm just going to put some on this
Add a little
plate
kick
here.
to it.
I will tell you that this one is probably the
So why
hottest.
don't you put it on your finger?
Only because he said later if you forget, even if you've washed your hands, some of the oils can stay on your finger and you put that in your eye. It's not going to feel very good. He will
that
be.
Tastes really
is
good.
that one getting you? This is the harder one. He will be certified by Guinness. He says the Guinness World Book of Records, he thinks in about a year and a half to 2 years. And he has nearly 11,000, and he says he's not stopping. I just can't believe it's right here in High Point.
What a cool thing to collect. You know, you hear people collect dolls or they collect magnets, but hot sauce, that's pretty unique.
So are we going easiest to?
No, well, I just went to that's the hottest.
Oh.
But it's not like, that's the perfect amount. What Lauren just did is the perfect amount.
I'm just creating a color palette on my plate
He has
here.
so many.
This one,
right.
it's not that hot, but I like the taste of the first one that we had.
So I will tell you also,
Better.
he said, don't drink water if you try really hot things. He said the oils inside hot sauce is what makes it hot. And if you do water, water and oil separate, you're just chasing it around your mouth. Like it's not leaving. You need something solid.
Like a milk, right?
Like a cracker or milk, he said.
Interesting cracker, right? I wouldn't have expected a cracker.
So this one made me cough today, and I don't know why.
All right,
great,
so we still have
great.
how much? 40 more minutes of news?
That's not bad.
Okay. If
Yeah,
we're
because we
coughing
gotta
in
be able
between
to-
reads,
we
I
gotta
might
be
have put
able
a
to
little
read our
too much.
stories.
Oh yeah, that's a whole mouthful right there.
Oh, you gotta.
But I like spice.
I do too.
That one actually tastes really good.
So if
That
you
might
wanna
be my favorite.
check out my story on WFNYnews2.com with him, and we will show you how you can get in touch with him. What do you think? That's not bad.
I like that
the
last
first one the best.
I like the first one a lot. That middle one was like, the taste was okay, but this one,
We're gonna go to break.
this is my
Milk or
jam.
crackers.
Crackers. We'll be right back.
There's a good chance that you stand firmly on one side of the Christmas tree debate, real or artificial. The rising cost of a real tree has pushed some people to the other side. Last year, the average cost for a real tree was $70, according to the National Christmas Tree Association. That same spruce, fir, or pine is now up to $80 to $100. But everyone I know who is stuck firm with the real tree debate, the extra $20 once a year is not worth changing.
Yeah, it's all about tradition.
It is.
Right.
It is. I grew up with a fake tree. My wife won't let us have one. We have to have a real one.
Oh.
And so I've been doing a real tree for more than a decade now. So I'm good either way.
When I was really young, we would do the real tree, and I remember just the process of having to get rid of it was a lot. So since I can remember, we've been doing the artificial, and then I like the artificial because convenience. You know?
Right.
I just like a full tree, regardless if it's real or fake. I like a full one because I just love the idea of getting the ornaments on and really decorating it fun. So if it's full, it doesn't really matter because some of the real ones or the fake ones can be skimpy. So
Right.
I just want a full one.
And these days you can get the spray that smells
Yeah, that's what to make it
like a
smell.
real
Yes, you
tree.
can.
Right.
And
Hey.
the lights are already on it, just less
Yeah.
labor, less
I
work.
tell you a funny story. My neighbor has, he like hunts turkeys, so he has a farm where he goes to hunt every year. So he takes our Christmas tree, like for free. He just says, let me take it because I build like a stand to hide it. So in the summer, I guess it was maybe, or I don't know when it was, like March or April. He came to our house, he goes, this is yours? And it was one of our ornaments that was still on the tree. And
Oh,
he came
wow.
back, and it had been put through heck, it had been
That's
rained
great.
on, and it was very funny.
One of the funny parts about a real tree, though, and if you've had one, you can understand where you take the tree out eventually and they're just pine needles.
Yes,
Oh,
the
yes.
cleanup
Cover the floor.
is a lot.
But I mean, you routinely have to make sure you water it,
Right.
and also if you have a dog, you have to keep them away from it.
Yeah.
That's the one thing.
Little kids too, got
Yeah.
those breakable ornaments up high.
A lot
Yeah.
goes into it. Well, Christmas trees really get you in the holiday spirit. So does the Greensboro Festival of Lights. The annual celebration gets underway downtown this Friday night. The official program with live music gets underway at 5:30 in Center City Park. In addition to entertainment, you can check out the community tree lighting at 6:56 p.m.
That is one of my favorite events of the year because it's like everybody's singing, and if I remember correctly too, we're gonna be cold too, right?
Yeah,
so it's
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
feel
yeah,
like it,
chilly. We're gonna all be
Not
there.
the Festival of Lights, but the parade.
The parade
Yes,
following
parade,
day will
yes.
definitely be there for that. So is there a reason why it's 6:56 p.m.?
Sunset, I would think, right? Is that what
Well,
I'm
sun is
looking at?
4 or 5-ish time frame.
Okay.
Or maybe just to
Maybe-
get, oh, I know why, because they need to get you would light the tree, you got to see it, so they want it really darker when they do that. You know what I mean? Because
yeah.
that's the lighting of the tree downtown. That's
Okay.
probably what
But
it is.
still, it could be like 7 o'clock.
Or yeah,
Yeah.
that's why it's at 6:56. I didn't know if the numbers stood for
Maybe
anything
that way you'll
sentimental.
remember it because it's so odd. All right, so it's not just the holiday lights, but it's the holiday parade as well. Did you catch WFMY News 2 at the High Point Parade earlier this month? Now we're going to be out in Forest in Greensboro.
Absolutely. We will be at the Greensboro Holiday Parade this weekend. This is the parade route, if you can read those very fine details there. This parade is unique because it has all the huge balloons that you see in the Macy's parades. Make sure you look for the Christmas stocking because that is part of the News 2 float. The parade starts at noon on Saturday. Be there or be square.
Where?
They say.
We'll be right back.
Hey, I'm on my way in there right now, and I will turn that camera to the verts if no one else has done it.
Welcome back to the 4 to 5. 30 more minutes ahead for this is Chad right here. In case you didn't know, I'm Eric. That's Lauren and Ben.
Hey guys, how are you?
Hello.
And we've got big smiles on our faces because the U.S. advancing to the knockout round
Yay!
of the World Cup. And coming up this half hour, there was some controversy there yesterday. Iran, members of the media from Iran, badgered the U.S. coach and one of the captains while they were having a presser.
Poor sportsmanship.
I mean,
It was really weird.
Yeah, so we're going
Very
to show
odd
you
behavior.
some of that very strange encounter coming up this half hour. But first, it's an important day for countless nonprofits. Giving Tuesday, as you might have heard, is meant to raise awareness and donate to charities. The day came about actually in 2012, so it's fairly new. It started at the 92nd Street YMCA in New York City, but is now an independent nonprofit.
Creators of the movement insist it's not just about money, but also taking small actions that'll brighten someone else's day.
It's so important, you know, the legitimacy of the group before you donate to it. Experts suggest verifying the group on give.org or through the Better Business Bureau.
WFMY News 2's Itanese McMiller spoke to a cybersecurity expert about how to spot a scam.
Giving Tuesday is a great way to remember the reason for this season, whether it's giving your time or money to charitable organizations. But even in the midst of trying to do something good for someone else, there are people out there who will try to capitalize off of your good deeds. There are tons of legit charities you can donate to, but there are a handful of scammers setting up fake charitable accounts to trick you into giving them money and your information. You can avoid becoming a scammer's next victim by confirming the organization is real. There are many ways you can do this, but a good site to use is Charity Navigator. Just type in the organization and you'll see how well it ranks. You only want to give to nonprofits with a score of 90 or higher. The higher the score, the better the money is being used. A cybersecurity expert shares with us the two main ways scammers are targeting folks.
Is they're going to respond to links on their phone or pop up on their computer that directs them to a fraudulent website. One of the other things that we're seeing that you need to really be careful about is people starting GoFundMe. If you happen to see that it says, no, it's going to this particular person and not the organization, that is going, as it says, going directly to that individual.
Before donating, don't be afraid to ask the organization questions like how your money will help. If you feel pressured, don't give. That is a red flag. And legit charities will be happy to get a donation at any time. Don't give the organization money if they ask for a gift card or wire money transfer payments. And we have a full list of legit charitable organizations that you can give to. Just head to our website, WFMYnews2.com, to check them out.
Tip Wants to Know's Ben Briscoe here with a new twist on Giving Tuesday. You know, Giving Tuesday is when people donate a lot of money to charities. $2.7 billion last year alone. Well, adding to that this year, there's a new push for people to give the gift of life by donating their organs. One woman has even done it already twice.
It's a powerful thing to be able to have an impact on someone's life.
Just 133 living donors in the United States have given 2 organs to different recipients. Yochum learned she could donate part of her liver while recovering from her first surgery.
I was insistent that I find out who I can help.
She went on Facebook to offer a portion of her liver, and a year later, Vietnam veteran Dennis Arnfield of Iowa received his gift of life.
A single donor can save up to 8 lives.
The United Network for Organ Sharing refers to Giving Tuesday as Life Giving Tuesday. More than 100,000 people are currently waiting for an organ in the U.S.
Wow.
I didn't know that was possible.
Yeah, right. A live donor can support up to 8 people. That's crazy.
Wow.
That's incredible. Are you guys, I'm an organ donor.
Yes, I am.
Donate.
You know, if you're interested in donating, it's really easy. You can actually do it online. If we can put it right there at the bottom of your screen, it's donatelifenc.org. All you have to do is fill out this really quick form, and then they'll help take your organs if you pass.
That's interesting. So for people who say, well, I don't have money to give to a charity, well, you don't need money.
That's right.
You can give yourself.
Right.
Well, you know, and it doesn't have to be this dramatic either. There's also blood donations. That's an easy way to help, and we have a blood drive coming up soon if you don't want to go out and do it today.
But those stories that we do where like maybe somebody's heart gets taken out and then passed on to someone who needs it, and we see these stories where like the mom of the son, this particular story that I saw, who passed away, gets to hear her son's heart in
those
somebody
are very
else. That's
emotional.
the most moving. So you're giving, that's truly the gift of life.
And I think when it comes to organ donation, there's a lot of misconceptions about how the process works, and that's why it's so important we do these kind of stories so people can get the resources, and maybe they might be interested in giving back in that way if they learn more about it.
And what was so spectacular about the woman in this story is that she did not know these people. She did not have someone contact her. She went actually looking. Like, she put it on her Facebook page and said, hey, do you need a liver? I'm here to help.
Gosh.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
That's some great things.
That is
lots
a call
of
to commitment to
blessings.
serve.
Lots of blessings
Right.
are headed her way. Very, very
Exactly right.
selfless.
All right, let's check on our forecast. Monique standing by with that.
Clouds are making their way closer and closer to the triad. The next step after that, we're talking rain. This is a live look at our satellite and radar showing you very active weather all across the south and east. Mississippi having a couple tornado warnings in the northern area, as well as south around that is Louisiana panhandle. You can see the heavy rain and downpours crossing into Tennessee, and that's going to continue to move east. This is what's going to be headed our way first, and then we'll get some additional rounds of heavy downpours and maybe even some storms before our Wednesday ends. Now, this is all for your Wednesday, and we're not expecting any of these yellow polygons or any of those red ones tomorrow. Tomorrow is not expected to be a severe weather day for us, but it is going to just be a wet one, at least to start out your Wednesday. Our futurecast showing you those clouds moving in, as I mentioned, from Tennessee, and then those rain and storms coming in thereafter after midnight. It looks as though the rain is pushed on back a little bit more delayed than what was forecasted just yesterday. Seems as though the arrival time will be after around 3 a.m. for those heavy downpours. The heaviest of them sticking with us overnight into the start of our Wednesday morning, impacting possibly your commute to work. You can see this is around 8 a.m. You see those heavy downpours picking up on the radar. Then all of it quickly exits east. We get some light rain and then clear conditions for the rest of your Wednesday. But then something else starts to get a little bit more active. The wind. Wind's picking up. I'll tell you how strong they're supposed to get before the 4-hour ends.
All right, thank you, Monique. Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup now. Thomasville police are investigating an alarming armed robbery hit and run. Investigators say 2 men robbed the Dollar General on Lexington Avenue last night and assaulted one of the workers. Police say the men then caused a car crash nearby and took off. Police eventually arrested one of the suspects, Zaite Baskins, and they're still looking for the other. The store worker is expected to be okay. No one was hurt in that crash. A potential rail strike could have impacts on your holiday season. The rail unions have said they are prepared to strike December 9th if there are no contract negotiations before then. President Biden is calling on Congress to act in order to prevent what he describes as a potentially crippling national rail shutdown. The Railway Labor Act gives Congress the right to push back the strike deadline, extend the negotiating period, and force the two sides to use an arbitrator or enact legislation to adopt an agreement. Nearly 30% of all U.S. goods are shipped on railways.
That includes some of the components blended into the nation's fuel supply, including ethanol. Gas Buddy says a rail strike could have a major impact on fuel refinery abilities. The Biden administration says the president is working to keep gas prices low for Americans.
The president has been focusing on doing what he can do to maintain supply in the market for gasoline, and doing what he can do to make sure that any lower prices that refiners experience is passed on, and of course encouraging refiners to pump it to refine at capacity. There was some periods where they haven't been doing so. So he's been taking all the steps that he can do to help American consumers.
AAA says the current average price for a gallon of gas in North Carolina is $3.22. We have an update on a CBS News investigation into toxic water at a Marine Corps base in North Carolina. We've been following the story for more than a decade. A new law may allow as many as 1 million people, mostly Marines and their families, to sue the government over contaminated water at Camp Lejeune. The law is a major change for veterans and others who say they suffered illnesses as a result of their service at the base. The Navy told CBS 14,000 claims have already been filed, citing the ongoing litigation. The Navy is not commenting on the size of the potential awards.
The future of President Biden's student loan plan remains in limbo, and millions of Americans now don't know if they'll get the relief they were initially promised. If that's you, you are in some luck, at least to get some answers. Starting at 5:30, we have money experts answering your questions regarding the delay. You can start texting those questions now. The number is 336-379-5775. We'll be right back. No, I don't. What a win in the World Cup this afternoon. The United States beat Iran 1-0 to advance to the knockout rounds. The match didn't come without controversy off the field.
Several Iranian state media journalists took aim last night at the team's coach and captain, Tyler Adams.
You say you support the Iranian people, but you're pronouncing our country's name wrong. Our country is named Iran, not Iran. Please, once and for all, let's get this clear.
With questions about immigration, inflation, and racism.
Are you okay to be representing the U.S. meanwhile there's so much discrimination happening against black people in America?
My apologies on the mispronunciation of your country. Yeah, that being said, you know, there's discrimination everywhere you go. In the U.S., we're continuing to make progress every single day.
The two sides met once before at a World Cup in 1998. Iran's team handed the U.S. team white roses, a sign of friendship despite political friction. Iran defeated the U.S. 2-1. But this year's tournament takes place as anti-regime protests rock Iran.
Do you have a message for the Iranian people?
We empathize 100%, and we do support women's rights.
Journalist Grant Wall says Iran's players feel additional pressure.
The Iranian team is not playing as well as they did in World Cup qualifying, and I think part of that is they're under a lot of stress.
This Iranian player said, "We'll do our best to make our people happy." We saw Iranian players refuse to sing the anthem of the Islamic Republic before their first game here, a sign they don't support the Iranian regime. But when it comes down to it, they're here to win. If they do tonight, the U.S. will be going home.
Speaking of the competition, check out the World Cup trophy. The golden prize is one of the most coveted in sporting history. The trophy is 18-karat gold. Get this, valued at $20 million. While players do not keep the original, they are gifted handcrafted replicas. Only a select group of people, including heads of state and former winners of the World Cup, are allowed to touch the original FIFA trophy, which is kept in Switzerland. $20 million. And it's only like this large. That's
solid gold.
Wow. And it's crazy that like heads of state are allowed to touch it, but not like, you know, fans. I mean, like, what the heck did our head of state do to play any role in this?
I know, they weren't out there on the pitch. Right. Well, I'm glad we won, so now we're going to play Saturday morning, but this is interesting. I remember back in, I think it was 06, that was when Donovan was playing, and you go to restaurants and bars, and everybody just builds up to a fever pitch, and it's funny, because I didn't grow up really as a soccer fan until I was an adult, but it's the biggest sport in the world, really. I mean, if you look at it that way.
Right.
Yeah.
I just can't believe the controversy. I know. I mean, as a journalist, I cannot believe that you would ask a player of the team, not the president of the country,
to represent everyone.
I mean, it's just crazy.
It just seems like an odd situation for that.
They handle it perfectly.
Yeah, great answer.
Sayonara, Iran.
That's right.
Go home.
Iran. We said it correctly.
Yes.
We'll be right back. Well, Earth's largest active volcano, it is erupting on Hawaii, the first time in nearly 4 decades. The sky glowed bright orange as lava spilled over Mauna Loa's summit. Scientists say it is not threatening any populated areas yet, but the volcanic ash cloud could make it harder for some people to breathe. At least for now, the only threat with this eruption is volcanic smog and ash, leaving residents with a front row seat, really, to what some call nature's beauty. It is really pretty from a distance when you know it's not hurting anyone.
Gorgeous photos. I'm excited to see some of the drone video once that starts to come in. That's going to really look nice.
It's got to be so stressful. I mean, they tell you, oh yeah, you're fine. Like, no worries to your house. But how the heck do they know?
I know. And you have to worry, especially if it's been 40 years. There are lots of people, I think you brought this up the other day, that they weren't even born yet. So they've never experienced this if they're under 40 and they're like, what is this thing?
And it must be wild. You know, obviously people, to get to Hawaii, you have to fly there. So imagine like flying into and just to see the smoke up ahead. I mean, wow.
Pilot's like, let's go over this way.
We're going to go over some turbulence. We're headed over a volcano when we land.
If you look out the right side of your plane.
Y'all are silly.
Horrible. All right, let's see what's happening with the forecast.
Looking downtown Greensboro right now, we're already starting to get some of those upper level clouds moving in, but the sun is setting. We're going to be saying goodbye to it very soon, and those temperatures will fall on down. 59 is that current temperature right now. This is a plan for tomorrow, so I've been showing you guys a future cast for some of you who just like to look at the hour by hour and see what to expect. Here you have it. So we're going to be warming up by the hour into the low 60s, but the rain chances decrease as we get towards the afternoon. This is going to be a morning situation, not an all-day affair. So we're talking morning, rain and storms, warming up, and then it gets breezy in the afternoon as the skies clear, and it remains breezy through your Thursday. So we're seeing those winds picking up almost around 20 miles per hour. Then in the afternoon, we could see some wind gusts upwards of maybe 25 miles per hour, staying relatively breezy all evening long until we get into Thursday. Thursday morning, that's when we start to see those winds drop off, but the winds are coming out of the north. So what does that mean? Chilly air moves in. Your Thursday and your Friday being very cold days. I haven't talked about the weekend too much. There are some rain chances on the weekend and the start of next week. We do have a front that's going to be moving through, and then it kind of stalls out. That's why we're not really seeing too much of variation in temperatures for the start of the week. But your Saturday and Sunday, it looks as though there's going to be rain Saturday night going into Sunday. Shouldn't impact that Greensboro holiday parade on Saturday, but it will be a chilly start to the day, so you're going to want to bundle up. As we go through the week ahead, there is a better chance of us seeing rain on Monday going into your Tuesday, but other than that, the temperatures stay seasonable. So again, tomorrow is the main weather day. We're downloading our WFNY News 2 app now. We're checking in on the app to be sure we're weather aware. As I mentioned, this is something that could impact your commute to work, not your commute home. But again, that saturated soil with the strong winds late in the day tomorrow could create some travel issues for some folks tomorrow afternoon. But again, most of the rain should be in the morning, then it should be clear by late day. Thursday and Friday are chillier and dry. 49 is where we're stopping at on Thursday. So definitely a big change in weather for those 2 days before we become seasonable for the weekend.
Lose all of my first stuff if I don't.
I don't want to know if you're playing me.
USA wins. Iran does not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Checking the mic, checking the microphone, check a mic check.
Hi, getting ready to talk about how to pay off your credit card debt.
Fire safety, but get this, he's a fire safety officer and he still burned his house down.
Hey, this is Manning. Jalen is finishing getting dressed real fast. There's the sharp dressed man right over here. He is on his way. No, I'm holding his lav, so just doing it like this.
It's time for my 2 cents, and if you saw my story earlier in the show, then you know I love hot sauces. This guy in High Point, the largest hot sauce collection in the world, people, not just in the state, not just in the region, in the world. My wife thinks I'm mildly obsessed, and people at work make fun of me because in my desk I have multiple jars of all kinds of hot sauces, and especially this one, which on the label it says more than 1 drop is suicide. That one is a ghost pepper hot sauce. There was a time when a coworker went in there and thought it was just regular hot sauce because he knows Chilton always keeps hot sauce in his desk drawer, and he put too much on there, ate it, ran down the hall. Yeah, and you can't just spit that out, right? It stays with you for a while. 1 drop. It says that on the label. So I'm mildly obsessed. This is the truth. I'm not making this up for television. My wife thinks it's ridiculous, but when I talk about hot sauce, my mouth waters. It literally was doing it just then. I have an obsession with these things. So I talked to this guy today, Vic, who has the hot sauce collection, and he said it is possible for someone to be addicted to that heat, that you love it. You know, he said, that's me. I love it. I put it on a lot of different things. I push the limits and see how far I can go. So I do think that there is something to that. However, you do a couple ghost pepper or Carolina Reaper hot sauces, gotta cure yourself of that. I did that once with a challenge wing at East Coast, and that thing about put me in an early grave. So I said, I'm gonna bring it down a few notches and just enjoy hot, but not extreme. There's a difference for those of you that like sauces. So everybody who likes hot sauces, join with me. Let's celebrate the hot sauce, but just don't do too much of this one or you'll regret it later on for hours. And that's just my 2 cents. That's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now. Well, the Deep South is getting hit with a system that could bring dangerous storms. The area is expecting damaging winds, heavy rain, and a possible tornado outbreak way down to the south.
It will then veer towards the Carolinas and the Triad. Tim, do people need to be on the lookout for severe weather?
We are definitely going to get the system. We're definitely going to get rain, but I'm not expecting anything dangerous like they're seeing out west. And that's good news for us. We're kind of on the lucky side of this system, to be sure. Here's what's happening right now. If you have friends, family out in this area,